what is your opinion on the way that beauty content, do you think that's like toxic to the brain or like to mental health? Like, I'm honestly really curious to hear your thoughts. Aloha, everyone, and welcome to Justaposition, the podcast where we explore mental health, vulnerability, and personal life stories with creators you know and love. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already, and listen to new episodes every Thursday wherever you listen to your podcasts. Today's guest, I have been messaging back and forth with for years, and I actually had the privilege of first meeting you not even that long ago. I think that was like 6 months ago. I am so excited to have you on because it has been a long time coming, and I'm just so excited to finally connect with you. If you guys don't know, which I'm sure you all do, Nicol Concilio, thank you so much for coming on.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I am so honored. My cheeks already hurt from smiling. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. I remember, I was thinking about it today. I was like, when did we first connect? And it was way back when I had first started growing online. And you were posting about me on your stories. You were like, everyone go follow Hyram, go follow his skincare advice. And I was like, oh my gosh, you are such a sweet person. Super, super genuine.
Thank you.
Thank you for the support since literally the beginning.
Oh my God. Of course. Well, thank you. You were so kind when you reviewed my little skincare routine, and I feel like I learned so much from you, and I'm just so excited to be here. And I love how open and vulnerable you are yourself about mental health and all the things that go along with it. So I've always just had a little soft spot for you.
Oh, thank you. I do for you as well. And that's actually something I'm really excited to get into in this episode because I am also inspired by your vulnerability specifically around your mental health. And that's something I really want to dive into. But I'd love for anyone who, maybe hasn't watched your videos for you to introduce yourself, what you do.
Yeah, I would love that. Okay, so I am Nicol Concilio, and I've been a beauty content creator now for 7.5 years on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So I kind of became popular for my makeup reviews on YouTube, and I was so lucky when I first started out, when I want to say maybe I was 22 or 23, I had uploaded my first ever YouTube video on a makeup technique called strobing, basically highlighting all over your face, and it got featured on Good Morning America, so that was my sign to keep going and pushing forward. So here we are, 7.5 years later. I'm still doing it.
That is incredible. I didn't even know that you were the person that popularized strobing, because when I first started watching your videos, of course, there's the iconic, I'm Nicol Concilio, welcome to the video, introductions that you would do, and just your makeup reviews. I didn't realize that you really popularized strobing. That's so cool. That was a huge moment.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, I was and it was one of my first videos I ever posted. So I was kind of well, okay, maybe I could do this.
That's so
maybe
cool.
I could do this.
And then you made it happen in 7.5 years. You've been doing it. It's been really cool to see just your continuous journey of creating content online, specifically around beauty, your passion for makeup. I feel like that's the thing. I feel like the majority of people who are watching, if not every single person watching, already knows who you are and has already watched your videos. But if you haven't already, you guys should totally go watch her videos. Go watch her skincare routine video too.
Thank you.
But yeah, what a cool journey. I'm excited to delve into it too and kind of get into why you started in beauty and what your thoughts are on the beauty space now. But I want to first ask just some rapid fire questions because I'm personally interested in knowing. First, what is your go-to coffee order?
Ooh, okay. So lately it's been a chai latte with 2 shots of espresso and 2 pumps of vanilla.
Oh my gosh, dirty chai. Yes. That's the only chai I get is because I remember I for so long thought chai had actual like espresso in it. And then when I realized it didn't, I was like, okay, I need to make it dirty. Add some shots in there.
Exactly. Same.
I love it. Okay, good coffee order. I definitely approve. I'd say for the second question, what is like your newest
Hyram
hobby?
approved, everyone.
The coffee order is absolutely. What would you say is like your newest hobby, like your most recent interest that you've been getting into?
Okay, so for me, it's been doing my own Gel X nails. I
gel.
just started doing them, and it takes hours. Like, I'm not even kidding you. This took me 4 hours to do. Like, I wish I was exaggerating, but I find it like very therapeutic. So that's been my newest hobby that I love.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh, you should like make videos about that. You need to come for Simply Nailogical's throne. Like someone has to.
Oh my God, I love Christine.
I love Christine.
She was actually one of my biggest collabs back in the day. I want to say in like 2017.
Really?
And again, I was like just shocked that she wanted to collab with me, like imposter syndrome at its finest.
She's so cool though. Like she's actually so sweet.
She's so
and,
sweet.
Like one of the creators that I love watching. But you should totally do nail content because your nails look really good. And oh my God, like even for me doing a clear coat, I'm like, oh my God, don't mess up. I like stress about it. Yeah. So that's like super impressive. Okay, so what is the absolute worst thing that you have done to your skin?
Oh my God, it's hands down 100% going in the tanning boots, and not just going in the tanning boots, not wearing sunscreen in the tanning boots, and going in two in one day. So like I would go to like one salon. I would go to one salon and then I would go to a different salon later.
My God. That has to be illegal.
I'm pretty sure it is illegal. Like they don't let you do more than 2 in a day. So that's why I went to do 2 different places. But I am barely in the sun these days. So I feel like and if I am, it's sunscreen everywhere, baby. Hands, neck, face, everywhere.
Good. I'm so impressed that you don't have like sunspots and like, significant skin damage. I'm so lucky. Yeah. Oh my God.
I know, because when I was like 18, that's like what we did. Like I lived in New York and it was like very gym tan laundry, like very GTL Jersey Shore.
Wow, you survived that era. I mean, props to you. Oh my God. That is bad. But that's okay. You know what? I never even applied sunscreen until I was like in college is when I like started, except for like maybe one time to like the beach, and I literally worked outside on a ranch, so like we've all been there with the sun damage. You're all good. And then final question: what is something you regret spending money on that you're just like, oh, I should not have done that?
So my most recent purchase, I would say, is actually these Jimmy Choo shoes that I got for my wedding, and they have this huge bow in the front of them, and my heel kept getting stuck in the bow so much that I like tripped and fell flat on my face in the middle of my engagement photos with Riley, my fiance. That to me was 100% not worth the money, and also now I'm like, why did I buy these shoes? Because I'm not going to be able to wear them walking down the aisle.
I know. They're not even functional. That's the whole purpose of shoes, is just to be able to
I know.
Like, walk.
So I think I'm going to have to sell them or just like put them on display somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it'll be, to save future people from falling on their face. Maybe it's a good
Exactly.
By the way, congratulations on your engagement. Like, I'm super happy for you. That's amazing. Because you've been with Riley for
so much.
A while now, right?
Yes, it'll be 5 years in the new year. And we met, he was my ski instructor. So he proposed to me while we were skiing. So it was very fitting.
I saw your TikTok, and so I'm an avid skier. Like, I'm absolutely obsessed with skiing.
Oh my God, I love that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like a big thing for me. I try to go as much as I can whenever I'm like not in Hawaii. And so when I saw the video, which guys, you should go watch her TikTok. It's like the cutest video where it shows like when you guys first met, and then he like literally proposed in the same spot. I was like, oh my God, I can't handle the cuteness.
It was amazing. Yeah. And I was like definitely caught off guard with when he did it because I was like in such a bad mood that day. Like I did not want to ski. I was having a bad mental health day.
Oh, shoot.
And he was like, you are skiing. You are skiing. You're getting on that chair and we are skiing. I was like, okay, fine.
Talk about a way to turn the day around though. Like, oh, I'm so happy for you.
Right?
That's so awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I want to jump into the questions because I have a bunch that I'm really interested in like diving into. I want to ask like, okay, so you share, you know, your beauty journey, how you started, how you've been in the space for 7.5 years. That's a long time. Like that's a good amount of time where you have seen so many trends come about, so many things change and evolve. Being, you know, in the beauty content space for a while now, how have you seen it kind of change over the years and even more recently?
Well, more recently, I feel like where people are consuming beauty TikTok has shifted dramatically. It's like, I feel like it's more popular on TikTok than it used to be on YouTube. I feel like people want to know in 50 seconds or less if a product is worth it or not, you know? And I totally get that, you know, and I'm down to adapt and change and evolve. I think change is always a good thing, but it definitely took some getting used to because I was like, wait, why is nobody watching beauty on YouTube? Is it me? Did I do something wrong? Or like, you know, the imposter syndrome comes back around, like, oh my God, like, am I a has-been? Like, do people not like me anymore? And I think it's more just shifting where people are consuming beauty. And for me, I've noticed a very big surge within the TikTok community, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even
agree.
And even just in general, the way that people are wearing makeup is so different now. You know, it's not like the dramatic cut crease. It's a lot more natural, kind of like what I'm wearing, barely even applying false lashes, you know. But I actually do like the change. I think it's fun to like explore and experiment with showing off your natural skin and like kind of like realizing that beauty is more within than on the outside.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think there's such a time and place and enjoyment within like the artistry side with, you know, the full coverage and the cut creases and just like the immaculate, you know, eye makeup. But I think one thing I like about where the makeup style is now is that it's kind of, I think it's a lot more accessible than what it used to be. Like a lot of people are doing a little blush, you know, an eyeliner, keeping it really natural. And I'm like, that is accessible and relatable to people who might not be able to afford to go out and buy 50 products to do a full coverage type look that was popular, say like 5 years ago. You know?
I completely agree with you on that. And it's also like realistic because listen, I ain't going to the grocery store with a full cut crease and a bold matte lipstick on. You know what I mean? Like this is kind of what I'm doing every day. And I do like that it is more achievable and easy to do, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you touched on as well, like kind of the self-reflection and the importance of change when it comes to content creation, because it is so easy to internalize what truthfully is just changing external circumstances and changing trends and interests. It's really easy as a creator to kind of internalize that and be like, oh my God, am I doing something wrong? Is it me? Do people not like me? You know, like get in your head
100%.
about it. How have you kind of like, you know, how do you kind of like manage that? Because I think that's something that happens to like any creator.
It was very, very bad in 2020 for me mentally because I was like, okay, no one's wearing makeup. No one's interested in buying makeup. Like I started my channel to make people feel beautiful, right, from within. And I'm just like, now I feel like it's hurting me mentally. And 2020, as I'm sure for you and many people watching as well, was just such a tough year for me mentally. I feel like having an amazing therapist, and for me being on a stronger medication, that has helped me significantly, because if I didn't have therapy or someone to talk to and just really realize that it's not me, like the tides are just changing, I really don't think I would be here. And I don't mean that in a dramatic way. I mean that in a very, very serious way. I even shared on my Instagram recently, you know, in 2020, I made a will because I was so afraid of what I was going to do because of how bad of a space I was in mentally. And it's taken me even to this year to still keep working on it and realizing, yo, this isn't me. Like, there's forever changing algorithms. There's forever changing interests that our viewers and followers have. So I think also I switched management, and they really helped me realize that it wasn't like me. Like, they're like, yo, this is with all of our clients across the board. You're not alone. And that helped me out a lot, was just like having people on my side that made me feel good about the content that I was creating, and also cheering me on from the sidelines. You know what I mean? Like, that is something that I definitely needed and still work on to this day. Like, and now when I upload a photo, a video, whatever it may be, I try to respond to the comments and I just put my phone down, because I'm like, I cannot sit here and obsess about how well a piece of content is doing. It takes the joy out of it for me. And that's not even why I started to begin with. So it's kind of like getting back to square one with like falling in love with creating content again and not just focusing on the numbers.
Yeah, it's so easy as it, you know, kind of turns into a livelihood for it to kind of go away from the passion and into like, oh my God, I have to measure this and metrics and numbers and all that kind of stuff, which is horrific for the mental health. And I wanted to say, like, I had reached out to you after that post that you made. And
you did.
I commend you so much for your vulnerability. Like, seriously, that was really impactful to me to see that. And I'm so glad you're still here, and I'm so glad you're really fighting for your mental health, because it is a fight. And I think within this space, particularly like the beauty community online, I don't want to say it's toxic positivity. I just think a lot of people don't have the space and the avenue to be able to express if they're really going through something, if their mental health is really rough. Right. Because it's all about like, hi guys, new makeup look. Let's talk about these makeup products.
Yeah, or like, look at this. I'm so pretty.
Exactly.
Like, it's like I can't even create content on the days where I'm feeling mentally bad, because I wear my heart on my sleeve so much. I've always been that way. And I'm just like, that's also another thing. It's like, when I've filmed content, when I'm not in a good mental health space, all of the comments reflect that. You know what I mean? It'll be like, oh, Nicole, you seem sad. Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, well, I don't want to hide the fact that I'm not okay. I want to talk about it, because I wish when I was growing up, because for me, you know, I got diagnosed with anorexia when I was 17 years old, but I feel like I have had the thoughts since I was like 5. I remember as young as 5 years old having those thoughts with an eating disorder, and I wish I had someone to talk to growing up about it, or had someone that was very vocal about it, like just like watching, let's just say Disney Channel or whatever, MTV, whatever we watched growing up. I feel like there was really no one talking about it until more recently. And I just want to be an avenue for people that like, yo, you're not going through this alone. I literally, like, on the outside looking in, it might look like I have the most amazing, perfect life, but reality, I don't. Like, mentally, there are days where I'm like, it would be, and I don't know if this is like too much to say. No, like, I'm sorry, like, trigger warning to anyone, but there are still some days where I feel like mentally being here on this earth, it would just be easier if I wasn't here. You know what I mean? Like I'll have those thoughts. And I know you've said this before, Hyram, where like it's like the thoughts don't necessarily completely go away, but it gets easier to cope with.
Exactly. I talk about that so much, and thank you for sharing that, because I think more people need to be talking about that. And as a, fellow survivor of anorexia as well, like I honestly didn't even realize that until your most recent post, but I relate to your story so much. It was the same exact thing for me. I remember when I was 6 years old, having, body dysmorphia and being really critical of myself and my weight. And that kind of, translated into the eating disorder that came later in life. And had I had someone to talk about it, a therapist with, it would have been so much easier. And I love that you touched on how the thoughts don't necessarily go away, because I think that's true for depression. I think it's true for, anxiety, for eating disorder, whatever it may be. They don't necessarily go away. It's a process of training your brain to know how to respond and know how to stop those thoughts from turning into harmful actions and harmful coping mechanisms. That's what I've learned over time.
100%. I am 100% behind you on that. Like, it is so important to realize, like, and listen, everything is not roses and daisies. Like, I could easily come on here and be like, guys, just journal your feelings. But, like, that doesn't always work. It doesn't work. Like, so it's important. What I've found is, like, it's a bad day, not a bad life. Like, I just try to, like, repeat that. And also going for my hot girl mental health walks with my dogs helps me a lot too.
Hot girl mental health walks. Yes, I love that you said it's a bad day, not a bad life, because that's one thing that I still struggle with. But I have to constantly remind myself of, to where I'm just like, this will pass. You're just in your feels right now. Your mind is just not cooperating with you right now. You just got to push through, make it to the next day, make it to the next week, whatever it looks like, because that's how you're able to not kind of feel like everything is falling apart all at once. And I think it's good to have kind of like those activities in place to make sure your brain kind of doesn't spiral. Which I want to ask you, like, what things do you do, like, when you're having a bad mental health day, or when you notice that you're mentally, spiraling? What do you do to kind of help reverse that or fix it?
I have my, like, steps of, like, okay, I woke up today and I'm feeling really bad mentally. What are my steps, right? So the first thing for me would be to communicate the fact that I'm having a bad day to Riley, to my fiance, because I think it's important that your significant other, whoever you're dating or who you're friends with, who your family, it's very important for them to know. So I communicate that with Riley. I'll try to, if it's a really bad day, schedule like an emergency therapy session. And my therapist is very, very flexible with that. So I've been very,
awesome.
Very lucky. Yeah, so I've been very lucky with that. And I hate to be corny and say that I do journal, but like I really do journal. Like I find, or what I will do is I'll make videos and I'll never post them, right? So like as a content creator, my form of expression, and I'm sure for you too, is creating videos. So sometimes I will just sit down and I'll just start recording myself and I'll just like kind of talk to camera. Maybe one day I'll release these. Like I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with them, but like I find talking or like saving it as a draft on my TikTok, like that to me is so helpful because I've always shared my whole life. So like for me, a very therapeutic way is to sit down with my phone, just start recording and not necessarily knowing what I'm doing with it, but like kind of having a way to release the stress. And then I will also like, I need to eat. If I'm in a bad mental health spot and if I notice I haven't eaten yet, food is such a like mood booster for me. So I'm kind of like, okay, I need to eat. I need to get on a walk. I need to be doing something. I need to get out of my house because if I just stay in my house with my dark thoughts, it's just gonna brew and spiral more. So like whether that be, let's just say like, okay, I'm on a saving month, right? Because I have my wedding coming up.
Yeah.
So I'm on a saving month. I'm like, okay, so then I know I'm very lucky to live in an area in Los Angeles where like I can go for a hike or I can go for a walk with the dogs. And that has seriously been so beneficial to my mental health, is like actually getting out of my bubble inside the house and going somewhere, even if it's driving in my car, like literally doing nothing. It doesn't even need to have a purpose. It's just getting out of my depression bubble that I'm in.
That's beautiful. I love all of those things. And I love that, you've been able to really improve and work on your relationship with food and understand that food can, help you get out of that. And I am a firm believer in like getting outside, getting in nature. It can, it's literally scientifically proven to help your mood, but I also
grounds you.
It does. Yeah. And it helps, at least for me, like whenever I'm like going through it, whenever I get out in nature, it's the most comforting message of, Hyram, there's a whole world out there. There's so many more things going on.
Yes.
There's way more happening than just what you're going through today. Chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
Calm down. It's okay. There's a whole world out there of things going on. And I love going in nature. And that's also why I love going on drives too. Like that's literally like, besides actual therapy, for me, that's like a form of therapy. Is just like driving, listening 100%. To music, getting whatever emotions.
Yes, blasting the new Taylor Swift.
Yes, I love it. Yes. Well, I kind of am interested in your thoughts too, like, because I've seen, I think on social media, there's a really evolving kind of space around mental health and the conversation there. And I think TikTok has been really revolutionary in not only helping people understand that they're not alone in the mental health struggles that they have, but also finding solutions for it. That being said, a lot of the mental health advice that I see on social media or online sometimes seems a little, it's almost like it's too aesthetic for its own good, where people are like, just journal.
Yes.
Go on a walk. Feeling depressed, like just, think happier thoughts. It feels very like not actually effective. And you've been through the ringer.
I'm cured.
Exactly. It's like a magical wand waving fix. And as someone, for me, I'm interested to hear from you. Like, you've definitely been through the ringer. It's you have really experienced some, dark shit when it comes to your mental health. What is kind of your thoughts on like when you see stuff like that? Because you also journal as well. You do some of the things that these posts are messages.
That's why I'm saying it's such a fine line. Like, I could literally sit here and tell you, oh, journal. But, like, that is realistically not going to cure anything. You know what I mean? Like, there are days where those steps absolutely don't work. And I think that's why, like, I've been a lot more open about my struggles. Is because, like you said, the aesthetic posts, like, ooh, I just got my Starbucks, like, I'm cured. And it's like, no, that's not it. Like, that's not it at all. And I know that the intention behind those videos is probably good. It's just one of those things where it's like, mental health is not an aesthetic thing. It's a serious thing. And I think the more we get raw and real with it, the better it's gonna be for everyone. So it's like, that's why I say, like, I film those videos of me, like, literally just, like, crying uncontrollably on the bathroom floor, right? For example, that was, like, one of my most recent things I filmed. And it's like, I do want to do something with those videos when the time is right, you know? Like, so I think for those people out there that do want to make mental health awareness content, I think my advice would be to just be more real with it and not necessarily be like, okay, I'm putting on my aesthetic Uggs and my aesthetic Aritzia outfit. Like, it's not that, because when I have a crappy mental health day, I look like shit and I feel like shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think showing more the real side of it is way more beneficial in the long run, and will also kind of like steer away from those like toxic positivity things like, oh, I just had a 5-minute walk and I'm cured. Like, no, that's so unrealistic. That's so unrealistic and does more harm than it does good.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree. I think more people need to be more raw, open, and real. And actually, like a personal example, a few years ago, I was making a mental health series on my channel, and kind of in the middle of that, actually,
I loved it.
Thank you so much for watching it. Like
you were in the hospital, right?
I was.
In one of those?
Yeah. So I was admitted into a psych unit for 72 hours after I had attempted to take my own life, and afterwards, I felt so much shame and embarrassment and just like, oh my God, I'm literally never telling anyone about this because this is humiliating. This is embarrassing. Even though like I felt like I should talk about it, I was just like, oh my God, I cannot. But then as I was like on TikTok and I was seeing more content out there, I was seeing people like making funny posts about their time that they spent, in the hospital and the psych ward and like all their experiences.
Like the fuzzy socks.
Yeah, exactly. The grippy socks. I saw so many people talking about it, and it inspired me and motivated me to be like, you know what, Hyram, you should talk about this. You should be open. And I think that's the beauty of like being open and real and raw about it. Like your post is a perfect example on Instagram, like where it, motivated me to want to, share more of my story. And I'm sure it does the same with so many other people too. So I think it's so cool that you're being open and honest about it.
Thank you so much. And I just have to say, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so glad that you're still here. You are changing so many lives, and you have added so much positivity to the beauty space, more than you even know. And you're such a brave person for sharing that. Like, thank you so much, even as another content creator, because like we got to stick together, first of all. But second of all, like we both are in the beauty space, and we both are mental health survivors and warriors. And it's just like, I'm just like, thank you for sharing this so that we both have opportunities to help our audiences out,
Thank you. You really understand. You understand like the mission of like why both of us are like talking about things like this, because it runs so much deeper than even just what's in the beauty space. And thank you so much for the kind words. I mean, kind of related to what you were talking about is with the beauty community. So like, I'm sure, especially over like the past few years, you see so many people that are like, the beauty community is toxic. The, influencer beauty community is toxic, all that kind of stuff. We've all, I'm sure, explored and heard that conversation. Well, I'm interested in hearing from you as someone, who has had, who is a mental health survivor, is what is your opinion on the way that beauty content, being in the, beauty space online, or just consuming as much as we have to, do you think that's like toxic to the brain or like to mental health? Like, I'm honestly really curious to hear your thoughts.
I honestly think, there was a time in the beauty community where things were definitely toxic. And I don't like to generalize and say that, the whole community is toxic, because that's definitely not true. Like I have made such incredible friends, like people that I'll have like to my wedding, you know what I mean, in the industry. But for me, I feel like things definitely aren't what they seem on the internet. And sometimes, like, I'm not gonna lie, there have been times where I'm like, oh my God, if only people knew how this person was. Like, there's definitely been times like that. But I definitely do feel like, the beauty community, like, definitely used to have its toxicity, but I 100% feel like it has changed for the better. And a lot of us OGs, like, the people that have been around for as long as I have, I feel like we all kind of collectively have each other's backs now.
That's
and
awesome.
I feel like it's so nice to know, like, that I'm not the only person that struggles. Like, there are other people, like, I've been on brand trips where creators have said, like, oh my God, my engagement's so bad. And then I'm like, girl, don't even talk. Mine is shit. Like, like, there's definitely been more of that openness where it's like, okay, creators are finally coming together to talk about the struggles that we go through. But then on the other side of things, like you mentioned, there has definitely been some times where I'm on brand trips, you know, and I've been like the smaller creator when I was first starting out. And there has definitely been times where like I felt excluded and I'm like, where do I fit in this beauty space? Like who is my friend? Like where do I fit? Like there has been times where like I was on a trip and everybody was like Snapchatting people. And then when the camera got to me, it like quickly turned because like, I'm assuming they didn't want to give me a certain amount of clout or, you know what I mean? Just how things used to be back in the day. And I'm so glad that it's not like that anymore, you know? And what with that also being said, it's kind of like, okay, so the mental health, like, I'm like, okay, if I'm not good enough, I'm already feeling like I'm not good enough to be on this trip, and then the people are treating me as if I'm not good enough, and then I'm getting comments that are telling me I'm not good enough. It's kind of like that's where the imposter syndrome really brewed, you know? And I also think that like being a content creator in general, like being on the internet is definitely toxic. Like I tell every single person, this job is so incredible. It comes with amazing perks. And I am so grateful. I'm literally nothing without my followers. Like, but your mental health suffers severely and everybody needs a therapist.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone. If you're in this industry, everyone needs therapy. I'm telling you right now.
That's literally what I say. I'm like, you know, you're a content creator when you absolutely have to get a therapist because it's like it honestly is a prerequisite of the job. I feel like it should be because because it's not normal. It's not I've talked about this on the podcast before where I'm just like, it is not natural.
No, this is not a normal thing.
Absolutely not. Like never in history was anyone meant to be perceived, commentated on, spectated by hundreds of thousands, millions of people. So like, absolutely. And I think, you know, like with what you were saying about the beauty community, you know what I think what it is, at least from me, you know, I started watching beauty content. Like
I'd love to hear your
ago.
perspective.
Yeah. I feel like what it is, when the beauty when the beauty space was first kind of formed online and there was creators, everyone was just doing it solely for the passion, like just for the interest. I know that's why you started it, and I feel like a lot of creators did as well.
Yeah.
Then when it got so popular and with, you know, views and attention and fame and all that kind of stuff, money will follow. And then in my opinion, toxicity kind of follows that too. So when the industry exploded and got so big and everyone was, you know, consuming content, I think that's where you got a lot more disingenuous people or just a lot of people who are solely focused on that. Now, though, I feel like online, the beauty space has changed a lot where it's not as
dramatically.
Yeah, it's not as like huge as it was before. And I feel like it's kind of like a return to the passion-driven content, and the people who have continued to stick around are the people who are truly passionate about the artistry and helping people, just like you. So I think that's kind of what I'm noticing is like happening, and why it seems like there's less toxicity now, at least compared to how there was before. That's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, honestly, I would agree with you on that. And then I also think, like, you know, back in the day, I remember, like, going crazy. Like, I would be like, oh, my God, I just got this new PR package, and I have to do a review on it right now. I have to be the first one to put a review on it. I got to post it right now. And that also led to a lot of toxicity, like, with my work relationship, because it would be like 3 a.m. and I'm like, I need to film. I just got this PR. I need to be doing something, like, you know, so I think also breaking away from that and being like, no, bitch, you deserve a break. Hello? Like, you don't need to be filming at 3 a.m. So, like, you know, with YouTube, I am trying to still find where my space is and, like, what direction I want to go, because beauty on YouTube has shifted dramatically. Dramatically. A lot. So I'm still in this space where I'm, like, finding my bearings, I guess you could say, with like what kind of content I do want to upload on YouTube. And I even asked my followers the other day, and a lot of them were saying they miss the old school beauty YouTube videos of like just chilling, getting ready. So I'm like, maybe I'll bring those back.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, that's honestly the type of content that I love to consume. I'm kind of sad that like it stopped being as popular, because for me, I'm like, I watch like YouTube videos as I'm like getting ready in the morning and applying my skincare routine and stuff. So feeling like you can do that with someone else where it's just like chill conversation, I'm like, y'all need to bring it back, because I love that content personally. Like we
I'll
should
bring
watch
it
more
back.
videos like that. And I wanted to ask you too as well, because I feel like particularly like
Yeah.
work-life balance is such an interesting concept to me, not only as a content
Yes.
creator, but just in general for anyone. And I think particularly right now with, the way the economy is and just post-pandemic and everything,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a, uh, I always think like, does work-life balance really exist in a society that is constantly just focused on like progression and success and like all of this? What does your like work-life balance look like? Because I completely relate where before, like, well, sometimes even now too, I was literally like filming a video at midnight
Same.
last night. So I guess I shouldn't just say before, but I feel that where it's like you're up at 3 a.m., you're filming videos, all that stuff. What have you kind of put into place
Yeah.
that you think has been really helpful with keeping a work-life balance?
Having the weekends off. Like that's major for me. So I used to like work every single day, 7 days a week, was on my phone 24/7 and like consuming that much internet time and like just being so involved with what other people say is not good for anyone, right? Like so the goal for me is like I wake up in the morning, I'll try to get up early, I'll try to be up by like 6:30, 7 a.m.
nice.
because I really enjoy my mornings with like, I have a set routine where like I really do like to scroll on my phone and like catch up on content I've missed. And then usually I'll start filming by like between like 10 a.m. and like 3 p.m., like right in between there. And then if I get an idea that's like after, let's just say 5, 6, 7 p.m., I table it and I'm like, I will do this tomorrow.
I love that.
So it's kind of like really trying to like have more of a daily schedule because it's like when I don't have that, my brain gets all over the place. That's when I'm like, I need to be working. I should be working at 7 p.m. I haven't done anything today, but blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Even though in reality, I've answered emails, I've talked with my management, I've edited content. Like it's like, so it's more just like stepping away from that like toxic hustle mentality of like, I need to work 24/7 or I ain't worth shit. Like that to me, like, again, I feel like I've broken record here, but working on that with a therapist was key to me because I was like killing myself trying to film. And I'm not gonna lie, there are still some times where I get motivated at like 10 o'clock at night and let's say I'm in a good mental mind space and I'm like, oh, I'll just quickly film this idea I have. There will definitely be times like that, but majority of the time is like spent with me really trying to come up with some sort of a content planning schedule. That way, I'm not feeling like so all over the place with what I want to film and when I'm done with work,
Oh, I love that. I love that you've been able to grow to a point of developing a schedule because I think that is really important for everyone just to have like, set times and have a routine in place because it's good for the mental health. It's good for just stress levels all over. Like, it was so interesting because that has never been my personality ever. I've always been like a workaholic or even, I guess, even beyond a workaholic, like someone who's like, I need to constantly be busy. I need to constantly be doing something, never a dull moment. And I was having a conversation with someone the other day, just like a random person I had met, and we were like talking about like work, and they were just like, oh, I need to be working constantly. Like I want to achieve my goals and dreams, and that's why like I don't need sleep and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, I am looking at an old version of myself. This is like looking into a mirror of the past because now like, with life experiences and I think definitely therapy too, it's like, I have realized like, oh my God, that is not healthy at all. That is not good to do.
No, it's not. I literally used to say like, sweet sleep is for the weak. Like who? Like what? We need sleep to recover. Hello, ma'am. Anyone there? Like,
I feel that. Oh my God. But I know for me personally, I was like, I'm stubborn as fuck. And I had to actually I was like, screw what everyone else says. They don't know me. And then here I am like years later, beaten and broken after like so many sleepless nights where I'm like, oh shit, they were right. I guess you do need balance. So I'm glad that you've been able to get to that point. And I think it's important just for anyone to be able to like establish that, have a schedule, put limits on how much you're exerting yourself, what your body and your mind can handle, and giving like time for rest and recovery, you know?
100%. Because even when my anorexia was the worst had ever been, like I dropped down to like 79 pounds. And I remember like I would take like water bottles and put them in my like pockets at the doctor's office to be like way more on the scale, right? So even back then, it's funny because that mentality of like work, it was like very present even with my eating disorder. It was like don't eat, like, and I was barely sleeping then too. So it's like, it's funny, like once you have like a well-balanced like just world and like your own kind of like community and mind, it's funny how like just things fall so positively into place. Yeah. And I wish I would have realized that earlier in life. Like, you don't need to be a workhorse. You need to go to sleep. Like, you don't need to be up all day long. Like, you don't need to starve yourself to fit societal standards. Yeah. Like, you don't need to do that. But you know what? It's like, I always say, I'm grateful to have gone through it and lived through it, because then I can share my story and help even just one person out. I've done my job, you know?
So I love that you touched on that, actually, because that's something I remember thinking about throughout the course of my eating disorder, and even now, like, really firmly believe, because I've always said I would not wish an eating disorder on my worst enemy, because the amount of mental strength, like, well, I mean, it's just the mental power that you have to, like, be around food and forcibly not consume any of it, when every single ounce of your mind, every brain cell, every fiber of your body is just screaming at you to eat. That is serious mental strength. And the unfortunate thing is that anyone who's in an eating disorder, all of that mental strength is being exerted towards a really harmful coping mechanism. But if you can figure out how you can recover, if you can turn that around and apply it towards something positive, then I'm a firm believer that, like, people who have struggled and experienced and overcome eating disorders can be some of the hardest working, most influential, world-changing people, because if you're able to, like, mentally do that, I feel like you can channel all of that energy into such a positive direction. And it's cool that you've been able, I mean, I literally made a video the other day on my TikTok talking about kind of like how people are saying, like, heroin chic is coming black, blah, blah, blah. It's so stupid. I fucking hate it. It makes me so mad.
I can't.
I know. I'm like, we're not doing this again.
So angry.
Yeah, and I, like, made a video, like, talking about how I'm just like, first of all, we're not doing this. This is not happening. But specifically, talking about how addiction specialists say that, eating disorders are some of the hardest, like in the top 3, if not the hardest addiction to overcome. So you were able to overcome that shit, and it's so cool that you can channel that energy into a positive direction.
Thank you.
And I think that's true for anyone who struggles, whether it be specifically with an eating disorder or, with mental health, like applying that in a positive direction. You can make such a huge impact, and it's cool to see you doing that.
Yeah, and even with, like, because I feel like I've got, like, mental illness. I've got, like, like, just everything. I'm like, I have depression, anxiety, anorexia, like, and it's just like, if you and I can go through things like that and see the light at the end of the tunnel and kind of convey that to our audiences, like, that to me is, like, way more important than being like, this foundation, like, it's great. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, that is something that I love that we are both so passionate about. And I always say, like it's like my mental health comes first and beauty comes second. Like, that's always kind of like what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying at least to do. It's not that easy.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's, I think, one of the main reasons I really connected with you and, like, wanted you on the podcast in the first place, because beauty's so much fun and it's so cool, like, videos and things like that. But for me, I feel a really deep connection to, someone who has been open and honest about their mental health journey, but as eating disorder and stuff, because I don't know too many people, like, who have really shared their story online, and I see it as so much more impactful, because I know sometimes, like, I have to be like, Hyram, remind yourself, your content is about skincare. That's why people watch your videos, because sometimes I'm like, we have to talk about more important things, and so.
I know.
Do you ever feel like frustrated by that?
Yeah, because I'm like, sometimes I'll be like, I'll have these days where I'm like, oh my God, who gives a rat's ass about a foundation? Like, there are people dying.
Yes.
Like, I'm just like, there will be days like that. And then my fiance brings me back down to reality. He's like, all right, bring it down. Like, you can still talk about this and do beauty. It doesn't have to be one or the other. I'm like, okay, yeah. He's my voice of reason. I
love it. It's a good balance. And like, that's, why I'm grateful you've been able to come on the podcast and like share even more of your story, because I think you are doing that. And I just like, as we finish up, I just want to say like, thank you for what you do online. Thank you for your positivity that you spread. It really inspires me. And I know it inspires so many other people as well. And just, I'm so grateful you're still here.
I'm
so grateful that you have kept pushing through, and I can't wait to see like.
You're gonna make me cry.
No, seriously, I'm so grateful for you. So.
You're so sweet. And I'm very grateful for you too. I'm grateful that we were able to connect, and that you're a real, honest person. Like, I feel comfortable around you. Like, and I'm so grateful that you're here. And I'm grateful that we got to like talk and hang out. And I have one question.
Oh yeah,
for you,
what's up?
Actually. Okay, so as a content creator, what is a piece of advice you could even give to me or other content creators listening? Like, when, let's just say like you're having a bad mental health day, but you need to film content. What is something that you do that helps you get back on like the track of being like, okay, I know, let's just say like you have a sponsored post you have to do, or something like that in general. Like, what is something that you have as advice that you've learned has helped you?
I love this question. This is a really good one, because it took me a little while to figure out, especially because it can be easy to like get in your own head. And for me, one of my main struggles is like, if I see negative comments or hate comments, then those will get in my head and kind of affect that. But what I've actually done, and this was actually courtesy of Mia on my team, I remember I was going through like a rough patch where I was like, just the hate comments were really getting to me and everything. And what she did is she screenshotted positive, loving, supportive comments and was just sending them to me like back to back to back. And it literally like lifted my mood so much.
I love that.
It was so, and so I have those like saved on my phone. And so I've like multiple times since when I've been really like going through it, I'll just read those comments, because it helps me to remember like the bigger impact that I'm hoping, that I'm wanting to make and why I'm doing this in the first place.
Yeah.
So that's what I personally do. I honestly recommend like just screenshot the positive ones and then keep them in an album on your phone. And
I
then
need
just
to
go
do
through
that.
Them. Yeah.
Like, print them out all over my house.
Yes.
Like, just all over the house.
Exactly. Just all over the place. There's no need for negativity anywhere. Yeah. So that's what I would recommend. That's a great question.
We don't know her.
Exactly. Hopefully that can help.
I love that. I'm totally going to use that. I'm 100% going to use that.
Yep. Courtesy of Mia. Thank you, Mia.
I love that.
Well, for anyone who's watching, where can they follow you online, all your socials?
So everything is just at Nicol Concilio, and my first name is just Nicol with no E. And I should pop up on everything.
Yeah, go follow her. Go watch her content, guys. Make sure you go support.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again for coming on the podcast. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
This was such an honor and a privilege. Like, I still was like, oh my God, do I deserve this? Like, so
of course
thank
you
you
do.
for helping my imposter syndrome and for having me on. I feel so honored. This was like one of the coolest things I've done all year. So thank you for having me.
So much. This was such an awesome conversation. I love being able to talk to you, and we need to hang out in person, like immediately.
Yes. Let me know when you're in LA. I'll let you know if I'm ever in Hawaii.
I will let you know. We definitely need to hang out. But thank you again. Thank you guys for watching and listening so much. Really appreciate all of you. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Justaposition YouTube channel. Leave a comment. We'd absolutely love to see what your guys' thoughts are on that episode. And this has been a presentation of Cadence 13 and Odyssey Studio. New episodes out every Thursday, wherever you stream your podcasts. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and we will see you in the next one. Mwah.